Hi everybody, Chris Stokes from Custom Fitness Personal Training Studio. It is time to stop dieting and see some real results. But that sounds crazy to most Americans because we are taught from really birth at this point that dieting is the way to lose weight and that dieting is the way to look the way that we want ourselves to. And the problem is that whenever we diet, we typically go on an extreme bout of really not putting good into our body, but trying to restrict what we put into our body because we're so determined that everything that we enjoy eating tastes good, so we can't have anything that tastes good. We've got to eat things that don't taste good and just restrict. And that works okay for a little while until your brain kind of kicks in and says, hey, I'm tired of restricting, and then you go into binge mode and you start to eat whatever you want to. So while we don't want to diet, we do want to consider that it's time to put good fuel into your body by adding good nutrition, not just taking things away. So if we're taking away, granted, the high fructose corn syrup or the really sweet treats all the time or things like that, that's one thing. But whenever we're taking away every food possibility and all we're left with is dry chicken and salad, we're not going to get very far with that. So if you truly want to start to see changes in your body, in your life, in your energy, and in your health, we have to start fueling our body with good nutrition. So dieting especially causes a problem whenever we start to yo-yo, as we start to go in and out of different scenarios, different types of diets, those kinds of things. We do it for a little while, we fall off the wagon, then we get back on. The body doesn't know how to handle that. It kind of goes into panic, shock type mode. And so what we want to do is start to calm it down. Now there's 3 different reasons that we really want to stop this dieting cycle. One is that every time that you start to restrict calories or restrict nutrition from your diet, you start to go into starvation mode. Starvation mode is where your body is actually going to hold on to fat and store more fat and let go of muscle. So every time that you eat, it's storing more fat because it doesn't know the next time that you're going to get these specific nutrients that it needs at that moment. And so it's going to hold on to them just in case so that it can use it again next time. So starvation mode really causes a problem because you start to lose that muscle tissue, and muscle, remember, raises your metabolism. So if you don't have that muscle tissue, you've got a lower metabolism, you've got body storing excess fat, you're not going to be happy with the results, if you can see where I'm going with this. So number 2 is that through that process, you start to become that, best word that describes it is that skinny fat look. That look where you really have saggy skin, everybody feels like, are you ill? They're trying to figure out what's happened to you. You don't have any muscle tone. The body is very small, it's trimming down, but it still just doesn't look healthy. And so what that causes is a lot of unhealth within the body, which actually takes a lot of work to rebuild health whenever you're out of that mode and starting to move towards better things. So that can cause a problem because obviously part of the reason we're doing this is to change the way that we look. So if we want to change the way that we look, we don't want to do it in a way that we're not going to like the results, right? We want to do it in a way to where it makes sense, to where the results that we get are what we were looking for. So in order to do that, we've got to be sure that we're again fueling the body, we're exercising, we're doing resistance training. It just doesn't work the same if we don't. So number 3, and really one of the big ones for me because I'm a big health nut, I want to make sure that whatever I do is going to benefit my health in the long term, that it's not just a short term change the way this looks or build this up for a little bit and then drop it. I want to look at the long term here. So the big thing is that whenever you are lacking your 100% nutrition going through your diet, you actually risk having long-term damage. That's pretty much what that's going to cause. Now, you may not feel it today, you may not feel it in a year, but in a few years, you're going to all of a sudden have something crash and burn within your body, and you're going to be wondering what on earth caused it. And you'll be looking at the last few weeks or the last few months and think, well, it might have been this or this, but really it's accumulation of the last 10 to 15 years of your life and what you've done to your body, whether you've taken care of it or you've abused it, will tell you kind of where you're going to be at in a few years. So that long-term damage, one area that I like to kind of talk to people about, because a lot of people don't really understand, is that a lot of that damage is coming from your endocrine system. Now your endocrine system is composed of 9 glands and over 100 different hormones. So if I talk to people with the hormones without explaining what's going on, a lot of times they're just thinking, progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, just the sex hormones, but there are over 100 different hormones in our bodies that really, they influence every organ, every cell, and every single function of the body. So if you don't have them working in proper order, they're not going to affect the body in the right way. And it's either going to be too little, too much, or too late to the show. So we want to make sure that the body's working correctly. So by dieting and yo-yo dieting and doing all these things to our body, it starts to throw off the endocrine system. May not sound like a huge deal, right? But what are some big disorders that come from that area? Well, diabetes. It's where the body can no longer properly process glucose. Or hypothyroidism, where you start to slow down your metabolism. Or hyperglycemia or iodine deficiency. Did you know that with iodine, your body actually cannot make enough iodine on its own, so you have to consume iodine within your diet? Doesn't mean that it has to come from iodized salt. There's lots of ways to get it, especially if you're doing, say, like your seaweed or your kelp, things like that. You'll get some through that. But that can actually in itself lead to hypothyroidism. So you can end up with a lot of problems, and those types of things typically are not going to help your body to start to look and shape the way that you want it to. So what do we do instead? Well, we start to find a very foundational plan, and I say that because some of these plans get kind of crazy. You know, you're doing all this crazy meal prep, or you're doing all these foods that you don't understand, or you're having to eat at home every single meal. We have to learn to live life at the same time. So you want to find that plan that's very foundational, something that you can follow, something that you understand how and when it's okay to kind of go off path for a little bit and come back, but something that provides you with every nutrient that your body needs and every at every meal that you consume. So you want to make sure that it's not just a hit or miss thing, but you're actually ensuring the success of your body by providing this type of nutrition. So that's what we focus on here at Custom Fitness, is making sure that people have that type of a nutrition plan, something that they can not only do today to change their body, but something that they can maintain for a lifetime to influence and enhance their health. Because again, I believe that if you can do that, then you're going to live a much longer, happier life being well than you ever would being sickly. So if that's something that you need some help with, maybe you need some ideas on how to make that work within your family, or how to make that work just for yourself, and you're just not quite sure, you feel like you've got so many different ideas from different schools of thought running through your head, you just want to be able to simplify it, we'd love to help you out. Feel free to give us a call, 806-322-3188. Remember that we do combine our nutrition with our training plans, but we also have just nutrition coaching if that's what you need. So we'd be happy to help you out. Hope you got something good out of today.